everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, Relax.Cut.Glue. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy to have you all here with me today. So on Monday, I hosted a collab with Bontic Vintage Designs on Etsy, also known as Anton. He is a part of the community, an amazing man, and gave away a bunch of stuff on my channel on Monday. The giveaway ends tomorrow. I will announce the winners tomorrow. But one of the things that Anton did for us is he provided the Relax.Cut.Glue family with a free kit. And I will link that in the description box down below if you haven't seen that. He also has a code for his Etsy shop, RCG60, which you get 60% off, which is amazing. So definitely check that out. But I love this little kit that he made for us for free. This kit is not in his shop. And I have a full video on the Monday video will show the entire kit, but it's super cute and it's free and I love it. So I think what I want to do today is make a little tiny glue book to go with this kit. And I'm going to use some paper bags from the Dollar Tree. You can get them, the gift sacks. They have patterned ones and just plain color. So I already have a tutorial on my channel on how to make this bag. So I'm not going to go too in depth on how to do that, but basically you open up your bag and you're going to turn that crease the opposite way here. And then these corner pieces, you're going to fold those as well. Take your time, make sure you have some nice folds there. So see, so I'm just opening this up. The crease is already naturally there for you. You can put your hand in here and poke this crease up here if you need to. And then I just pinched the corner ones here, making sure those are straight. Okay. And then you just fold that down. All right, where's my scrapey tool? So then I like to just kind of let the bag know its new shape and crease it all down. Once you add papers on here and a cover page, or like decorate the cover, these wrinkles and stuff aren't as noticeable, so don't worry about that. But this is just a really inexpensive, easy way to make a glue book. Okay, so step 2. I'm going to take my second bag and I'm just going to cut it off where this ends right here. You don't have to be too precise here. This, I always save these, and when I'm going to like a doctor's appointment with my husband or something and I have to wait, I use these, open it up, and use this as a little bag for my garbage if I'm fussy cutting in the waiting room or something, or if I'm sitting on the couch. Just a fun little tip there. Okay, and then I do want to take off the edge here on this side. I'm just going to take a little bit off. Okay. Now, here's the part where you can make your bag any size you want, or your glue book. I'm going to take out my cutting mat because it makes life easier. So basically, you just open this up and do the same thing where you just take the crease and you fold it the opposite way just to make the bag bigger. We will open this up again, like so. Flatten her out. There we go. I like to use my bone folder or credit card, whatever you want to use, but just use something to kind of flatten it out and let it know its new shape. Okay. And then you take this piece and you're going to tuck it inside of the existing piece. There we go. Get in there. All right. And now I can make this however long I want it to be. And then once I get my desired length, I will glue it together. So let's see. Now don't count, let me turn it this way. Don't count this part because this is going to be your closure. It'll be like a little flap like this. You fold that over. I like my closure to be on this side. We're going to glue this part down here in just a second, but okay. So if this is my closure, I'm going to put this line right here on the edge here because that's where my glue book actually starts. Okay, so how big do I want my papers? If I'm using 8.5 by 11 papers, I cut them in half. So let's make each, so it would be 5 by 5. My papers will be a little bit smaller, which will be great. So 5.5 and 5.5 is 11. So I want to make my glue book 11 inches long, because if I fold it in half, that will give me 5.5 on this side and 5.5 on this side. And because I'm going to be folding an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half, my papers will be a little bit smaller than that because I have a white border on mine, and I'm going to cut those down just a bit. So, and that's totally fine if your book is just a wee bit bigger than your paper. I actually prefer it that way. Okay, so now we have everything where it needs to be, like so. So I'm just going to take my art glitter glue here, give it a little shaky poo. I'm going to keep holding this down because I don't want it to shift. I'm just going to put my glue under here and add a little bit of glue to close this. Like so. Hold it down. Give it a little press to smush that glue so it really adheres. Wipe off any that oozes out. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. You can use Elmer's glue for this. You can use whatever you want to glue this together. You don't need fancy glues. I do highly suggest this glue. It's a stronghold and it dries very fast, but it's not necessary. So if you're on a fixed income or budget, please don't feel like you need to have all the fancy things, okay? This will work with Elmer's as well. It just will take a little bit longer to dry, and that's not a problem. Okay, so there, we have that. Now I'm going to glue this flap down. This annoying little flap. Woo! There we go. Just glue that down. Give it a little press. Might as well glue this little piece down too. It's not really necessary because I'm going to be gluing paper on top of this to cover this whole thing, but here we go. Okay. So now you can, let me see if my bag goes like this. I'm going to want to fold this about right. I'm going to have my bag go just a wee bit shorter than the closure because I want it to be able to close. You know what I'm saying? Okay, there we go. So I have it now folded in half. Crease, crease. This is a trust the process kind of project. Okay, now here's the thing. You could leave this open and make it a pocket. I don't like to do that. That's just me. That's my own personal preference. You do you. But I do not want this. I do not want this open. So I'm just going to put a thin layer of glue across the edge here. Okay. There we go. There is my glue book. Perfect. Looks so good. Hey guys, so from here on out, I'm going to be doing a voiceover. So today I'm having a really rough fibromyalgia day. I'm not telling you this for sympathy, but I just want to explain why what's happening next is what's happening next. So the reason why I'm telling you this is I want to let you know, because I know I have a lot of people in my comment section that have fibromyalgia or lupus or arthritis, anxiety, depression, all that stuff. You guys know I also have really bad anxiety, and today I'm having a rough day, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I had a very hard time getting into my craft room. I actually had to make myself do it about 3 hours after I would normally do it. I'm tired, I'm sore, my brain is foggy, and I decided to make this glue book to use the free kit that Anton made for us because it's super easy and fun. But then everything that could go wrong went wrong, and it's because I'm having a hard day, and that is okay. So what I decided to do right here is fold over that edge because I didn't like the flush edge that was there, and that's totally fine. I adjusted it a little bit, and so it's not exactly 5.5 by 5.5 anymore, and I'm okay with that. I then went to cut my paper for the front, and I measured it a few times. I'm leaving my mistakes in here because I want you guys to see this happens to everybody. Everybody has hard days. So then I decide to cut my paper for the cover, and right there, my paper trimmer jammed in my paper and messed up my sheet of paper. And instead of just getting a new sheet, I decided to just cut that piece off and I'll figure something out. So I did, and I just glued it down, and I just continued to go with the flow. I'm not going to lie, at this point right here, I wanted to give up, but I was like, absolutely not. And there would have been no harm or nothing wrong with it had I given up right now. But I just, I just wanted to finish it. So I continued to go and moved on. And then I decided to go with this inside, the other half for the inside piece. So I went ahead and trimmed that, and everything was going fine. First of all, I have a new blade in my paper trimmer, and I've had problems with it all week. I just need to throw it out and put a different one in because it's shredding my paper and it's super frustrating. So I am getting a little bit of anxiety during this part here because I had already messed up. You guys know I'm a perfectionist. There are reasons for that I won't go into my personal life, but I'm hard on myself, and I'm very much a perfectionist, but that's also part of my anxiety and who I am as a person. I do work on it very hard, but I also know that that's just the type of person I am. I've always been that way. So yeah, in the past Nicole would have thrown this away and started over. But now I'm learning to go with the flow and figure it out. So the bottom piece there was a little funky, and I decided I wanted to add a pocket there. Now I had some scrap cardstock sitting on my desk, and so I cut up this piece of paper here for the flap and my pocket. And I decided to start with the flap first. Now this part went okay, surprisingly, and this is kind of like the hardest part, if you will. But what I did is I took the flap and I traced it out, and then I cut the trace mark 1/4 of an inch shorter on the inside all the way around. So here's my trace mark. And then with my paper trimmer, I cut it 1/4 inch smaller all the way around so that I could have a little bit of border, because I like that yellow paper. It's pretty. So here I go. I'm just going to trace that out. You can do this with maybe a piece of cardstock if you want to, or a piece of computer paper for a template if you want, but I didn't do that. So here I am just cutting it a little bit smaller. Now it looks like I'm cutting it less than 1/4 of an inch. That's because I cut 1/2 of 1/4 of an inch all the way around. But in general, anyways, okay. So I'm just dropping things left and right. Things are all over my desk. I do not feel organized in any way, shape, or form. So as I'm doing this, I'm beginning to get a little bit more frustrated, but I'm still like wanting to finish this. In my mind, I want to do this. So I continued on, and I'm really proud of myself for continuing on. And I would have been proud of myself too if I decided, hey, today's not the day, I'm out. So I traced the other one, and now I'm cutting it. I only needed to cut a little bit off the top there, but because that one was the same as the other side, I really didn't need to adjust it at all like I did the first one. So now I have my little flap pieces. The book's already starting to look okay. And then here I am. I'm missing parts as I'm gluing. This happens more when I have a foggy brain and see I'm dropping stuff. And the reason why I'm showing this is I just want to let you know that we all have bad days. Us as crafters, even if you don't have a chronic illness, you still have bad days. And on YouTube, a lot of people tend to cut those parts out and that kind of stuff. And today, I just wanted to show you what it was like, frustration and all. There I go again with that paper trimmer, and I'm just about ready to chuck this thing into the street. I am so irritated. And if you have an anxiety disorder, this is like I'm like starting to really get revved up here. But for some reason, I was like, I am doing this today. I'm going to persevere and see what happens. So I did. mistakes and all. And I realized there was a little bit of the other sheet on there, so now my pocket's a wee bit smaller than I need it to be, but I will fix that part later. So I'm gluing that little piece on there, trying to make sure I can get it as straight as possible, and then I'm folding over the top just so my pocket looks a little bit more finished. And then I'm just going to chop it off. And I realized I didn't glue my paper totally straight, so I had to cut a little bit more. So now my pocket's even smaller than it should be, and I'm super frustrated. And I'm thinking, what do I do here? And then honestly, I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to glue it down. It's like 1/8 of an inch too small. It's not that big of a deal. To most people, they wouldn't even bat an eye. But for somebody who's a perfectionist, that like really bothers me. And I've learned that when it bothers me, just fix it and make yourself happy, you know? Or like I did, I'm just going to keep going and figure it out. I'll figure it out as I go. But I do see a lot of people pressuring people to just get messy, you know, have fun and do all this stuff. But not everybody likes to be a messy crafter. And it's okay if you're not. And that's why I wanted to do this as well, is because I even have other YouTubers in my Facebook group that are like, who cares? Just get messy, do this, yada, yada. That's fine, and that's great encouragement, but not everybody works that way. So just like you want encouragement to be a messy crafter, we want encouragement to be a clean, tidy crafter. You know what I mean? So it works both ways. Just respect everybody's process is all I'm saying here. So to fix this at the top here, I decided to add a piece of ribbon, a little lace, little bit of ribbon here that was gifted to me. And I actually really like the way it looks. So sometimes things are, let's take a little verse from Bob Ross, a happy little accident. It's a happy little accident. It's a happy little piece of trim. And I think it looks quite nice. And, you know, maybe if you didn't know, you would think I did it that way on purpose. You know what I mean? So now I want to pick out some papers for my signature for the inside. And oh no, I'm sorry, I lied. I'm doing the back page now. Now what I did cut out here, just for time's sake, is I had to cut this 4 different times, even though I measured it. It was just one of those days. But I got it done, and here we are. Is it perfect? Nope. But it's okay. And when I added that piece, I realized, the pieces on the left there look a little wonky. Too wonky for my liking. And I will address that in a little bit. So I guess my point to all this is, it's okay if you're having a hard day. It's okay if things turn out a little wonky, and it's okay to fix them if that makes you happy. And that's what I did. That's what made me happy. I fixed it. And I'll show you that in a little bit here. I'm picking a few papers for my signature. I think I picked 5 in total. And then the other ones I'll use to collage on the inside. And I cut those papers down. They ended up being, I think I did 5 1/4 by 7 inches. And then folded it in half. Well, I'm sorry. 10 1/2 by 7, then fold it in half would give you 7 by 5 1/4. And then I forgot to use my bone folder the first time around, so now I'm going back through. Big deal? No, not at all, but that's not something I would normally not do my first time around. So things are just a little bit different when I'm having a harder day here. But I'm working through it. And then this was my last piece, but I decided I didn't want that on the back on the very last page. So I'm like, can I just turn this upside down? Once I put like a focal image, I think it'll look fine. And I'm going back and forth, like, am I really going to glue or put the signature in upside down? I just like that paper. I wanted that on the top. I just really liked the color and the flowers. And I think, you know, once I add my focal image, it'll look good. So now I'm going to sew in the signature. One of the worst things to do when you're having a hard day. If you've ever done it, it's stressful nonetheless. So I'm putting in my little holes. I clipped my paper to my book, and now I'm adding 3 holes. And I'm just going to do a very simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I put it through the middle, then through the bottom. I'm trying to get it through the bottom here, and I just pushed it through and made a bigger hole than I needed to. Again, it's okay. And then you put it up through the top and then back through the middle. Now the key in the middle part when you go back through is you want to make sure that you don't put your needle through the existing thread that's already in there. So I'm trying really hard and I can't get it, and boom, again, I pushed through and made a bigger hole than I needed to make. So now I have too big of holes. Is it a big deal? Not really. My signature is nice and tight in there. It's not going to budge. Everything's fine. But you know, I would be lying if I said it didn't bother me a little bit, but it's totally fine. So now I'm going to add my Velcro. So you put the sticky side down, and then you take your top piece, you put it upside down so the sticky part is on the top, and then you turn your piece around and make sure everything is straight and how you want it, and then you push it down, and now your Velcro is lined up perfectly for when you open and close your book. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I just realized that I did that and completely forgot to decorate the cover. Didn't even realize until just this second. So normally I would decorate first, then put my Velcro on, but I guess I'll decorate around my Velcro. So here's where I'm like, what is going on in the spine right here? And there we go. It worked the first time around, so I did it again. So here you go. You can always fix everything in the end. So if you're having a hard day and you feel like you've messed up, 1, it's okay to stop if you need to. 2, it's totally okay to keep going. And 3, absolutely cover it up. Nobody will ever know. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to stop by today. Don't forget to sign up for all the giveaways. Everything will be announced tomorrow. This week I've done a giveaway video on Monday, Tuesday, and on a Wednesday Glue Crew. So if you're a Glue Crew member, head on over and check out that giveaway. Thank you guys for watching my video, for putting up with my craziness. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, friends.